And now, it's time for Socially Awkward Media with Levack and Goz. Awkward on 104.5 The Team.
Oh, God, I love him. We decided that all of our listeners, and they're not just listeners anymore, interactive people that are part of this show, you're just too good on Twitter. You're too good on Facebook. And so are the athletes nowadays. So we decided to just put a segment together each and every week, 4 o'clock on Thursdays, called Socially Awkward Media, where we kind of just run through some of the cool stuff we've witnessed. And, guys, you normally lead off, but I'm going to start with Draymond Green trolling the Cleveland Indians. Man, 3-1 sucks. That's all he tweets out. I loved it. I thought it was so great.
That alone had become a meme because of College Game Day and others, that Warriors blew a 3-1 lead. And Cleveland fans and others were trolling them, and now... Sorry, Indians.
Yeah, now I get to do it right back to you.
Did you see last night during the broadcast when they brought out the tarp and people were putting the crying Jordan face on the tarp?
Oh, no.
And then they were putting the Warriors blew a 3-1 lead on the tarp. I'm like, this is a new level of trolling on the internet right now.
Dude, I did a little trolling last night.
What did you do?
I took the picture of SportsCenter, put a picture together of the 1908 Cubs and how they're just sitting there all relaxed, like, hey, we just won back-to-back World Series. And then this year's Cubbies, like, going crazy. And I wrote, geez, Cubs, act like you've been there before. It's not like it's been 108 years.
You bring up last night's game. That's where we go first here. TomTom518 tweeted at us, and he wrote, is this maybe the greatest Game 7 ever in sports? This game has presented almost every twist and turn possible.
That's not awkward, or that's just real. That's legit. That's just a good call on TomTom518's part.
Greatest Game 7 ever in sports, and maybe World Series we can talk about.
I really feel like it's the best one I've seen. Like, I mean, I'm sure you could probably get me, in a big conversation about some other ones, but just the way that basketball, like, I'm not a hockey fan, so it's not going to be, what about when the so-and-so scored, and then blah, 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 ski scored, and then blah, 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 scored. You're speaking Russian. I don't know. Hoops. I do love hoops. I love when they get to a Game 7, but for me, just the way it's like the way a baseball game is built, where, okay, I'm up, can you take my best punch? And then I got to take your best punch. And then and we go back and forth. And then the weather gets involved. And Bill Murray's there. I mean, I don't know. It was, if it's not the best, it's got to be top 3.
The two factors that other Game 7s cannot have: hockey, football. Well, football is one game. Technically,
right. Every game's Game 7 for football, basically.
Basketball. They didn't have a 108-year curse.
Yeah.
And they didn't have a possible rain delay and a comeback and it being on the... There's so many factors, not just the game itself, because at times it was a blowout game. It wasn't back and forth every single inning. It was a 6-0 game, 6-2. Need a home run, come back.
Yeah, Theo Epstein breaks the curse of the Bambino, and then he breaks the curse of the Billy Goat.
It's a little awkward because when you're in the moment on Twitter, you can say stuff like that. Greatest game ever. And then, you actually have to go and look it up and find out. But, Tom, I'm not ready to go that far. Neo2681 wrote this on Twitter. You hate new curses, but want to see Cubs fans suffer. You're like the nursing home guy in Happy Gilmore.
Mista.
Hashtag Goz hates old people.
That might be the most accurate tweet the show's ever received. You wanted to keep the curse alive just so that old people wouldn't live to see the Cubs win.
Half of that was right. I wanted to keep the curse alive so that it was good for baseball. More people would watch. It'd be a storyline. People would continue to be
all of you in Chicago, you could call the nursing home and tell Grandma that Goz was happy that they didn't win.
I have no issue with old people. I don't know how that's become the thing. I have no issue with old people. You hate old?
It's clear. I mean, even listen, Neo2681 doesn't lie.
We'll move on to number 3. Decap55 tweeted in and wrote, do you know what the perfect temperature is to set your thermostat at? Thermostat. Well, I don't know if he spelled it right here. I'm just reading it off how he spelled it. He also tweeted that to me in Buster only. So Buster was involved in this one, which I feel bad. Sorry, Buster. I'm sorry they asked about that.
For me, I run a little warmer. I like to keep it around 68, 69.
Jesse Deneen tweeted and also wrote he likes to keep the room at 69, then wrote a smiley face.
Yeah.
I have no... I don't know. I don't touch the thing. I just let it go. I like it to be cold. I couldn't tell you. I don't know.
You're not allowed.
Giggity.
69 degrees is where it's at.
I'm allowed to do it.
You're not allowed.
I'm just
tell the truth.
What do you mean tell
the imaginary girlfriend is like, you touch that thermostat and you're sleeping outside.
I couldn't even tell you where it is in my apartment. I have no idea where it is. There's windows.
You're
there's
just a
an
big
AC.
dumb animal, aren't you?
God, smash. What is this button? I have no idea. I'm sorry, Darren. I can't help you out on that one.
I do. Look, that is a completely abusive way to use socially awkward media, by the way, sir.
Don't worry. There's another one coming up that's just as abusive. Dictator tweeted this to me, Levack. He doesn't seem like he's a fan of you. Don't worry, Goz. Again, my Twitter handle is @TomGoz, TomGoz. He spelled Goz in this, Guoz.
That's all right. It's close.
Jeff will probably be fired before the Super Bowl, so you don't have to wear that ugly Raider jersey anyways.
So referencing our wager, when the Raiders beat the Bucs, you now have to wear a Raiders jersey, and you chose the Darren McFadden because you really just want to point out that you lost the bet.
Yeah.
One day at Radio Row. So this dictator or thictator or whatever thinks I'll be fired before that. 20 years, buddy. 20 years they've been trying to get rid of me and haven't figured it out yet. Couple months, I ain't scared.
Levack, I need you there. Please do not leave the station, because now I'll be sitting there with a Raider jersey at the Super Bowl, and no one will know the joke. They'll just be confused.
You still pay the bet off?
Of course I would.
Good for you.
I'm a man of my word.
Dude, if I get fired between now and then, I'll probably be there. I'll find a way.
Wearing a Bucs jersey?
Hell no.
Okay.
Not unless they sign me.
Just tried to sneak that in there.
Yeah.
Donald on Facebook. Here's our one Facebook person who wanted to hop in on the conversation. Next Bears quarterback will be for next season. That was the sentence he wrote. Again, next Bears quarterback will be for next season. Will Jake Cutler be the next Jets QB next year? That's the exact thing he wrote on our Facebook.
Okay, so Donald threw some questions out there. Who's going to be the quarterback for the Bears next year?
One was an actual sentence. One may have been written at 3 a.m.
Deshaun Watson or somebody from the draft will be their quarterback with Brian Hoyer mixed in. And Jay Cutler will not be the quarterback of the Jets. The Jets, don't wish that on the poor Jets. They've been through enough. There's some. We're getting some retaliation tweets for some of the earlier socially awkward media tweets.
Okay.
Marcus Norton just said he loved my trolling of the Cubs, but he said that you keep it cold in your apartment so old people won't come over.
Oh my God!
Goz hates old people. We should do that for next week. Your homework for socially awkward media, everyone, is it has to end in hashtag because Goz hates old people.
No,
just have like a crazy statement.
That is not going to trend.
Hashtag because Goz hates old people.
More likely to be the Jets quarterback for me next season is Tony Romo before Jay Cutler.
I think it's going to be Bryce Petty.
Ooh, okay.
I don't know. Like I don't think it's on that roster, but I think if it is, it's Bryce Petty. Romo, I don't know, man. I can see that the Dak Prescott Tony Romo thing dwelling on for a long time.
Oh, it's going to drive Jets fans nuts, but they're going to at least say we got to bring in a veteran. They're not going to draft 5 quarterbacks in a row, are they? The first time in the NFL history a franchise has ever done that.
What about okay? What about this?
Okay.
What about Romo has to restructure his contract to go anywhere, basically.
Yep.
What if he goes to Washington, Kirk Cousins becomes the quarterback for the Jets? It's just crazy enough it might work.
If they have the money to afford him, because Cousins' price is going to be really weird, because he's a guy who wanted a ton of money, but then he got franchise tag, so he made a lot of money. His price is going to be really strange this offseason.
Yeah.
It's not the craziest theory in the world, Levack. I have 2 more here, and also we're going to need more retaliations. Dan, it's me, DRB at Twitter, tweeted at me and wrote, "Hey, Gozzy Bear, is Eli Manning elite?" First-time caller, long-time listener. And he spelled long, L-O-G. Spelled long wrong. Long-time listener.
Yeah, well, who knows? Maybe they fall asleep.
Again, not calling it the show.
Logs.
It'd actually be a first-time tweeter. Is Eli Manning elite?
Well, you can't spell elite without Eli. Elite's I think elite should be reserved for the absolute best. He's one of the best, I think, because he has 2 Super Bowls, because he can do things most people can't do. Elite, no. And I do appreciate you being a first-time caller, long-time listener.
Thanks, Dan, for helping us out there. Is Eli elite? Sure, he's got 2 Super Bowls. I thought the Joe Flacco is elite question was the way people are supposed to troll people on social media.
Because remember, Eli literally said he said he was elite, and then people started the whole thing. You can't spell elite without Eli.
He's had a disappointing season this year. I know Odell Beckham Jr.
is disappointing.
Yeah,
the offensive line is not gelling. The running game is non-existent, and as you just mentioned, OBJ is not OBJ. So I mean, the fact that he hasn't lost his mind publicly this year is amazing. That's the elite thing. He's a real hero.
I thought he was going to have a career year. It just hasn't happened so far for Eli. And the last one here on Socially Awkward Media, Mike M. Campagnon 14 tweeted, "How many times does the average teenager hit the snooze button?" Asked me that. I don't have a teenager. You do have a teenage daughter. Do you have any idea to the answer to this question?
She doesn't set her alarm. So no snooze. No, she doesn't. She's more adult than I am. I don't know.
How about you? Are you a snooze button guy?
No.
Me neither, man.
I get up or I go back to bed. I don't even care.
You know who are some of the worst people on earth? Snooze button people.
Old people?
Not old people.
Goz hates old people.
If you are in a relationship or have maybe a daughter, son, niece, nephew who lives with you, and they're snoozing and hitting that button, it drives me insane. Because once I hear that noise, I am up. There is no going back to sleep for me. I know 10 minutes, and some people feel like it's the greatest feeling in the world to get that extra 10 minutes.
I got to need another hour.
I can't do it, man.
There's no point in it.
If you're dealing with, I can't deal with it. I can't deal with the snooze. So hopefully it's 0. Thanks for asking, Mike. Again, I don't know why you asked me about how many times teenagers hit the snooze button. I don't work in a school, and I don't have a daughter or son.
Socially Awkward Media, and he made you feel awkward. I do want to give props to one of my buddy, Mr. Proctor, at Mr. Proctor 9. Earlier in the week, I was picking on how bad the Knicks shootings were, and I gave the comparison to Philip Seymour Hoffman and Alon Kane Polly, and he actually found the "Let It Rain" meme and put it on my page. So good for him.
Look at the late Philip Seymour Hoffman still shooting it, living on with that meme.
Let it rain. That is Socially Awkward. You got anything left?
I don't want anything left. No.
I'll tell you, next week, anything that explains why or how much Goz hates old people will go right to the front of the line for Socially Awkward Media.
You could always be a part of Socially Awkward Media by tweeting at 1045 The Team, also leaving comments on articles and our visitor post page, facebook.com/1045 The Team, and also at my Twitter account, TOMGOZZ, and at the Jeff Levack.
Yeah, that's where all the cool kids hang out, at the Jeff Levack.